What's up, guys? Monday morning. Yeah, it's my usual time when I'm walking to take the kids from school, so I will most likely very often have time to record something at this point of time and to do kind of a weekly update. So I hope you enjoy that. I've been checking the views and seen that, yeah, good amount of views in comparison to the bat reps, quite similar. So looks like you're enjoying this type of spontaneous content and like weekly update about Ninth Age and talking a little bit about the game that we love that much. Yeah, main topic for today will be to react about the update. You can check the change. I made a video on my French speaking YouTube channel. There is also one on my friend's channel, Erken Ork, so you can see there the points. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. What's my expectation for next update, which will be end of March. And yeah, that's it a little bit. But first, let's talk about quickly the weekend. So I had some battle report to do from Balog Malakum, so that's coming next on the channel. I also had a lot of painting. I'm preparing for the Bavarian Team Championship in Munich, which is taking place in 3 weeks now. In Munich, so really looking forward to that tournament. And basically I have some things to paint for that tournament, so it's always for me the best motivation to paint on a regular basis with a good amount of hours is having a list for a tournament because that's the main goal. You want to bring your finished army in a nice looking way for a tournament, and therefore this has always been for me the main motivation to paint. So I've been painting a lot this weekend, moving forward. Yeah, and let's talk about the update quickly. So if you saw the last video that I did in a similar fashion, it was what were my expectations, and I didn't know, for the record, I didn't know that the update was coming so shortly after that, but I had really perfect timing. And basically my summary was I expect something to be done for Dread Elf and Warrior of the Dark God. So in that sense, I was quite happy with the update. Yeah, I think generally speaking, we have Wretched One and Forsaken One for Warrior that have been targeted, which I think makes sense. All of a sudden, Warrior discovered that those entries were actually totally fine, and with a huge discount, they were just able to put too many things in the list. And I think that was my main complaint. And yeah, the main complaint I heard from people was the fact that they can just put too many things in the list, and it was a huge problem. It's not that the Wretched One or OP or Forsaken One, it's just for the price. It's too good for the price, basically. So they tried some quite significant increase, 40 points on Forsaken One. Now the main question is, are the people going to drop those entries fully? Just say, okay, fuck it, the nerfs. And myself including, I think players have the tendency on the short term to react quite strongly on nerfs and buffs. And myself including, why? Because shortly after the update, you're starting to try to build lists around the buffs to try to win as many points as you can. And a couple of weeks after that, you realize, yeah, actually there was a reason for those drops, and some of the old entries that didn't move were actually totally fine. But that's the immediate reaction that people will have. And to the contrary, regarding nerfs, basically, as soon as there is a significant nerfs, people just drop the entry from their list. So I'm expecting a strong reaction. Disregard, people will just drop that on the short term and go back to something, I don't know, to be honest, to something more like we had. We saw as well the Forsworn be quite popular in Spike Shield and so on. So I'm sure that War of the Dark God will find other entries that are totally fine and that can do the job for them. So I don't have any, yeah, I'm not afraid at all that Warrior player will be able to find competitive list. But I think on the short term, it's likely that the amount of Wretched One and Forsaken One that are being played will drop. As you know, the idea is anytime in March, we don't know the date yet, they are going to release another update, the final update. And it could be also a way to say, okay, we apply a huge nerf in February, yeah, significant nerfs in February to Forsaken One and Wretched One. And basically, if no one plays them until March, they could do something in between. I wouldn't be too surprised of that. So that could be a way to do it. I also expect them maybe to move towards the expectation for 305 yeah, don't expect too many change. To be honest, I think we got something good from this update. There are now some manual picky change maybe needed in some books, but that's it. And I would say as less as possible. We don't want too many changes to occur again. I think that would be my main expectation or wish. Quickly about Dread Elf, I expected more of a nerf on Dancers of Yema. I find them quite good. I think they start with the +10, but I wouldn't be surprised if they get further up, further nerfed in March. I think they are really good and just better than the internal competition on this regard. RPs got slightly nerfed, just the amount of models. I don't think, to be honest, that moving from 12 to 10 changes that much, because most of the players were playing like 10-10-7 or 10-10-8, 10-10-10. I didn't see so many lists with 12-12-12, so I don't think that's the main issue. Increasing slightly the amount of points for additional model is definitely more impactful. Will that be enough for RPs? I think it's a first attempt. For Dread Elf, they were more cautious with the nerfs they applied, and I think it's a first attempt. Depending what happens with the list during the next 2 months, they could be again saying to themselves, okay, that wasn't enough, let's increase further. So I think that is still something interesting that they will follow very closely. And speaking about that, if you take a look at the table that I put in my video in French, they also put in grey, and I think it's very interesting that to observe the entries from Dread Elf, Warrior, and maybe also Solar Ancient that were closely regarded for potential nerfs, but at the end they decided to not move anything. And I think it's quite interesting because now we know those entries are being regarded and could definitely see some nerfs in point in March. So I think that's interesting to follow. It helps us to understand a bit better the process and also the entries that could be seen as potential offender and could be nerfed later in March. So on Ancient quickly, yeah, they nerfed, I think it wasn't in the table I received for my video, but shortly after I saw that, they nerfed the Touch of the Reaper that you could have 3 times. I think that was not intended at all, that you could spam the snipe and therefore just go with I saw a list that could have 3 times the snipe, I think, and basically on turn 2 you can kill pretty much any mage that is normally in a unit without any ward save and so on. So basically that was obviously problematic, and they try to fix that. Shading Stone got a bit of an increase. Yeah, he felt a very good character. When I saw him on the table on the last round of Velum Lacum, I felt okay. Quite impressive what he does, the amount of attack, the regent and all the effects. I think it's a good one, so I wasn't too surprised of the increase. I think that was maybe missed before, and now that the players are playing it, we start to realize the potential, or maybe that it's slightly too good. Anyway, we will see. I think generally speaking, I am okay with what has been done, and I'm definitely looking forward to the end of March that we get a stable version. I just hope they don't do too much in March. That definitely would disappoint me if they shake too much the meta again. I think we got a good shake with the nerf on the star list, and I think that was well done. Now for me should be the focus on some entries that are potentially underpriced. I think that would be the main target, underpriced, and maybe some that are still unplayable. Let me take 2 examples. The Griffin from Empire, 250, Marshall and Griffin, great weapon with a shooty weapon, 250. Yeah, I think it's too cheap. I think it's too cheap for what it does. The output is good and it's still very mobile. It's a good unit, and basically almost every Empire list plays double Griffin. So if you have those kind of automatic pick, I think, yeah, that should be addressed in a way that's not too strong. I don't advocate for a +50, but I mean +10, +20 would be something that would make sense for me, that we try to, yeah, just put a little nerf on those stuff that seems a bit too obvious to take for the books. And to the contrary, you could take stuff like a big monster that still doesn't see any play. I don't know, maybe Rokorok for Ogre Khan or Kalim Titan for ID, to mention the books that I know and I play. and there should be made something about either design-wise or you do something about the price. To be honest, I was a bit critique about, a bit concerned, or I don't know. I didn't like at first what they did with the Minotaurs to say, okay, I think Frenzy needs a fix. But to be honest, the more I see it, I see now people playing Minotaurs and you just say, okay, you need to learn how to play with the rule, and actually it could be fine because you need to avoid those situations of overrun or you need to anticipate them. But it's not that bad actually of a rule if it's priced accordingly, and basically to get them for a cheap price you accept the downside, and yeah, why not? I mean, I'm not that against it as I was before. When it was released I was like, yeah, still unplayable no matter how the discount, but at some point it's all a question of price, and if the discount is enough, it's enough, and then you start to play it and you start to see it on table. So yeah, that surprised me, to be honest. Some things sometimes got released and you think, okay, that's going to be this way, and then you got surprised by the table. And the same for musician. I was pretty sure that we would put musician everywhere when I saw the new design, and myself including, I'm not playing that many musicians, maybe one or two in specific situation, but most of the case I don't play them, so that was still a big surprise. Anyway, I would expect also something on the season pack. Secondary conserve the numbers. I think it's way too easy to play in most cases, and it's an automatic pick, and that's what happened in the Bellum Lacum. Each time that we had the defender and he could pick that one, he picked it immediately without thinking, and I don't like it. I think we need to change something for that one. So I'm curious to see if something will be done. Skull of Arad Red Stop, I've been a bit vocal about it. I don't know what can be really changed, to be honest, to make it a bit different. Yeah, I think it depends also on the table. If it's very unbalanced, then obviously it will be unbalanced also for Skull of Arad Red Stop. I played it one time at Bellum Lacum and it was less of a shock for me, but it was in a more balanced table. So I think it's only shocking if you're playing in an unbalanced table, which can happen sometimes. So yeah, maybe also we can have a look at the map. I saw that, I think in the Spanish community they talked about the map and said, yeah, we play on map 9 to 16, something like that, and they didn't like the 1 to 8, which they found not so good. I didn't really notice that, but maybe something needs to be done also on the map 1 to 8 to make them more balanced. That could be also something easy to fix. But like I said, generally speaking, for the books, I hope as less change as possible, but as much as necessary. I think that would be the key word. Just address the particular entries that are a bit problematic, try to lower some that really see no play at all, and try to increase some that are just too much automatic pick. Basically, I think for me the key factor, and I will end up on that, the key factor should be, if now I'm picking an army book, is there something I'm really straight away saying, okay, that's in the list. No second thought, that's in my list, no matter what, that will be in my list. And I think that's the case for the Griffin of Empire, for example. But there are other examples like that in other books. But I think that still be a question that the design team or pricing team should be asking themselves and potentially address. Anyway guys, I hope it's also sunny where you live. Here it's particularly enjoyable, not too cold, so it's getting towards the end of the winter, which is enjoyable. I wish you a very good week. And I'm playing tonight again. Open room, most likely. If you want to have a look, come have a look. And yeah, enjoying the games going on, the battle report, a lot of stuff going on the channel. Looking forward also to be after Munich, then I will have some time for more stuff. But yeah, until Munich it will be pretty busy period for me, but looking forward to the tournament, obviously. Like I said, going there with the family, playing in team tournament is always very enjoyable. So looking forward to discover that tournament and meet all the players there. And if you are there, don't hesitate to come and say hi. Always enjoy to have a chat with followers of the channel. It's always a cool thing. Anyway, I wish you a good week. Take care and talk to you soon. Goodbye.